From the heart of the mother city in Cape Town comes an audio platform that pushes boundaries, reaching beyond the horizon, where the values of Ubuntu and the spirit of Ubunye converge to shape futures that inspire. This is CPUT Live.
CPUT Live.
Welcome to the brand new era of CPUT Live. Did you miss us? Because we missed you. I'm your host, Melissa Cheleza, and this is the space where student voices take center stage, where conversations matter and the stories shaping campus life finally get the spotlight they deserve. From lecture halls to life lessons, today's episode is packed with stories that hit close to home. In Campus Focus, graduates reflect on the sacrifices behind earning their qualifications.
Sometimes when you are sitting, studying alone, it doesn't make sense. But when people come together to celebrate just that one instance, then it starts making sense that all the hard work actually came to be celebrated by a crowd while you suffer alone. But it's a beautiful experience. I don't want to lie.
In Student Spotlight, we talk to Sudanese-born Reem Ahmed about her audacious journey from Sudan to Saudi Arabia and finally to find a place of belonging in Cape Town.
So in my first year as a student, I was pretty much occupied with settling in. I remember vividly crying every single day for the first 2 months of me being in Cape Town.
In Explained, we unpack plagiarism and the risks students often overlook.
In my first year, I wasn't aware about this. So the thing is, when you use someone else's work or code, what the same without referencing them and using it as your own work, that causes pronunciation.
And beyond campus, students speak openly about sexuality, mental health, and belonging.
Around like grade 6 and 7, that's where I realized there was no man. Like, I started having a crush on this boy name. So that's where I realized there was no man. I'm gay.
This is storytelling with purpose. This is CPUT Live.
CPUT Live.
Graduation season is emotional for a reason. Behind every cap and gown is pressure, sacrifice, and self-doubt. But most of all, people who refused to give up. Today, we step into the joy, relief, and celebration outside the Dome of Remembrance, where students reflect on the journeys that brought them to one unforgettable moment.
We are standing right in front of the Dome of Remembrance at CPUT's Bellville campus. The dome reminds us that behind every qualification, there are sacrifices, stories, and legacies that continue to live on. Joy fills the air as graduates celebrate a moment years in the making. You can hear the pride, the excitement, and the relief as friends and family come together to capture memories that will last a lifetime. For many graduates, this moment is not only about personal success, but also about the people who walked the journey with them. Kisha and her friend Buhle Dube, both graduates in a Diploma ICT in Communications network, have held each other's hands throughout.
I feel very emotional because I know that it's well-deserving, firstly. And secondly, my family is not here, but it's an amazing moment to experience. It's worth the cost, it's worth the years, it's worth the struggles, it's worth everything.
It's just exciting. I think just exciting. That's about it to be done, firstly.
Your family is here.
Yes, my family is here. It's very exciting because my family is here. But she is my family, basically. So,
what is clear from all the graduates is that to make it this far, to celebrate and be celebrated at the Dome of Remembrance, one needs to be brave and tenacious. Thembisa Kanti is a mom and a full-time employee. She's graduating with a diploma in public administration.
Yeah, it was quite a struggle because I must balance work and then I must balance school. But it was worth it. It's been years since I've wanted to have a formal qualification. But due to responsibilities, due to being a mom, I couldn't do all of those things. But once my child became a teenager, Then I went for it. 2023, I registered for public administration. And today, I'm very proud to say I am a public administrator, a qualified one. Once you are in this moment, you forget the hard work, the difficult times that you went through. Like this moment, just embrace it. Embrace the moment. This should be a motivation, actually. Be motivated for this moment. Once you're in that world, once you sing, people who have PhDs, people who have got advanced, you get motivated more to even study further. So they should embrace the journey. They should look forward to it.
Samana Max Mufukenge is one of those who has been bold enough to study further. Today, he is attending his third graduation, an honors degree in journalism.
Sometimes when you are sitting, studying alone, it doesn't make sense. But when people come together to celebrate just that one instance, then it starts making sense that all the hard work actually came to be celebrated by a crowd.
Sposi Hlenyaka, a diploma graduate in film production, was emotional as she remembered the work it took to get her to her graduation day.
Really emotional. Like I have my parents here, my grandmother is here, my cousin all the way from Pretoria is here. So it's just emotional and seeing all my colleagues, my classmates and everything. It's just, I don't know, like emotionally in a good way. Like 3 years of studying, and sleepless nights and, just all of that. And then you see going up the stage and finally being rewarded.
Accomplished journalism student Lisa Kanyavena graduates with an advanced diploma this year. As someone who has juggled work and academia since early in her university career, she stands as one of the examples of how dedication can truly shape one's future.
It's been wonderful, a lot of hard work, but the benefits are always worth it. So I was not only a student, I was also working. I started as a tutor on my second year, and then when I was doing my third year, I started with my internship at Daily Maverick, where I got my permanent job. And from then on, I moved to where I am today, which is Food from Zanzi. So I had to balance that while studying at the same time. So it has been a lot in terms of time, because I needed to work during the day and at night I needed to study. But again, it was all worth it, and I'll do it again. Really, my mom set a very thick foundation. My mom is a graduate herself, so I follow right after her.
Graduation season is more than just a celebration. For every student walking across the stage, it was a moment to remember, because against all odds, they did it.
For many students, the journey to success begins long before university, and that success comes with sacrifice. Sometimes that sacrifice means leaving behind familiarity, comfort, and even home itself in pursuit of a better future. In Student Spotlight, journalist Spongile Ngwelo had a moving conversation with Reem Ahmed. She's had to overcome running away from her home for safety and later battling with feelings of loneliness in her quest to find some semblance of belonging. For caution, this story mentions themes of suicide. Please listen with care.
As students shuffle in and out of lecture rooms, preparing for class and grinding at deadlines, Reem Ahmed, a Sudanese journalism student, moves with them. Her journey to Cape Town has been shaped by political unrest, emotional struggles, and resilience. Like many international students, her story stretches far beyond the classroom. It is a story about survival, rebuilding, and trying to create stability while carrying the emotional weight of the past.
My name is Reem Al-Quraishi Hasbaraisal. I can send you my how to spell that. It's quite a long name.
Yes.
I was born to Sudanese parents who immigrated to Saudi Arabia, and they gave birth to me there in a city called Jeddah. So I lived in Jeddah for 17 years, and it's where I grew up. It's where I was raised. Jeddah is a city in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is a predominantly Muslim country in the Middle East.
Yes.
Living there has basically shaped a lot in me. It has shaped my beliefs. It has shaped my religion. It has shaped my view of the world, how to deal with people, the difference between what's right and what's wrong.
For Reem, moving to Sudan became more than just an educational journey. In 2019, Sudan experienced political unrest during the revolution against former President Omar al-Bashir. Young people across the country became actively involved in protests, demanding freedom, justice, and political change. Universities and communities were deeply affected by the instability, and many students found themselves living under constant fear and uncertainty. During this time, Reem also became involved in activism, hoping to contribute to change within her country.
So what led me to leave Sudan was the shocking reality that life there is brutal. And to put it in simple words, I escaped because I didn't want a bullet to my head. In 2017, everything was going fine. Few problems here and there because Sudan's demographic is not the best. Poverty is a dominating factor. Life there is just not facilitated as life was in Saudi, a developed, not an underdeveloped country. But the true reason that made me leave Sudan is because I got politically involved in the 2019 revolution. That has led to me being detained, actually, once, and that was traumatizing, to say the least. It wasn't one factor, but me being detained was the cherry on top, because first you're shocked because the country is not, let's say, easy enough to live in. Then you get shocked because the people are different. And then the revolution happened. And at that time, we were all activists. We were all eager to fight for our country. We all wanted to participate in overthrowing the ex-president Omar al-Bashir. So I participated, and honestly, I don't regret it because the cause was solid, but I just believe I didn't have the sufficient wisdom.
As political conditions in Sudan worsened, Reem's mother made the difficult decision to relocate the family to Cape Town in search of safety and stability. Leaving Sudan behind also meant leaving unfinished studies, familiar surroundings, and the life she had started building for herself. Arriving in South Africa brought relief in some ways, but it also introduced a completely different set of emotional and academic challenges.
I remember vividly crying every single day for the first 2 months of me being in Cape Town, because it wasn't easy. It felt like I had nowhere to belong. It felt like the whole world is massive, but there's no home to belong to. It was a very painful feeling, but despite all of that, I was very persistent to study. I was very persistent to carry on with my academic journey. So the first step I did in 2019 was enrolling in an FATC project management course at the College of Dublin. And then from there, it took me a year. And from that year, basically by 2021, this is when COVID started. So I remember it resulted in a state of the whole country not going to campus, but I was still persistent. So I remember doing my course online. I did it all online. And in 2022, I was able to finally start with journalism.
Despite the emotional difficulties of adapting to a new environment, Reem remained determined to continue pursuing journalism. Over time, storytelling became more than just a career path for her. It became a way to process experiences, connect with people, and speak about realities that are often ignored.
The way I view journalism, it has always been a mean for me to connect with the world. I made the decision of becoming a journalist. One day, I remember vividly when I was 16 years old. After finishing one of my prayers, I sat on the side of a mat and I asked myself, what do I want to do with my future? And being a 16-year-old, you don't really have much wisdom or, ability to think or rationalize the future. And I remember in my head going through different scopes, different measures. And I knew it by heart that I wanted to become a journalist. Not for anything, but because I believe what keeps us connected as human beings is sharing meaningful stories. And not just sharing meaningful stories, but pushing them to the front line so that people can read and learn from them.
Behind Reem's academic journey was another reality that many students silently experience: balancing education with financial and emotional responsibilities. While studying full-time, she also worked long hours tutoring English to help support her family financially.
So a typical day would be waking up at 8 or 7, sorting out whatever assignments I have till 10, because from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., I would be seated in a chair by a table and meeting clients after another, without a single break till 7 p.m. I would obviously tutor them English one after the other. And then at that time, my charges were relatively low to Cape Town standard. So I would only charge 50 rands an hour, which was relatively low. So, and I would give high quality, classes, because I have studied English my whole life, basically. I'm bilingual. Arabic is my mother tongue. So, and these are Arab clients. So they loved the service and they loved how cheap it was. So they would all come to me. And then by 7 p.m., I would pretty much be mentally exhausted, fatigued. Then I remember the academic obligation I have. So from 7 p.m. roughly to 10 or 11, I would rush my assignments, rush through them. And I admit I am a perfectionist. I like things to be up to a perfect standard. It is a curse and a blessing. It is a curse because it has drained my mental energy. It's a blessing because I have, alhamdulillah, with full thank to God, succeeded a lot in life or achieved a lot of milestones. That would be a typical day for 3 years until I was done with my diploma.
Years of emotional pressure and unresolved trauma began affecting Reem's mental health.
After so many suicide attempts, almost 5 or 6 growing up, I stopped for a second and I realized there is something wrong with my mental health. I think it's time I get an assessment. This happened in 2022, also the year where I started my journalistic studies. At that time, I took myself to a hospital, to a psychiatric ward. I admitted myself and I asked them to tell me what's wrong with me. So I then got a diagnosis that I have a personality disorder, something called borderline personality disorder, which is something, it's not an illness, it's a personality disorder, which makes your life just more difficult or challenging than those that do not have personality disorders. That has actually changed a lot of things about how I view myself. Because previously I used to think I am just weak. I am someone who cannot handle pressure, someone who breaks down under pressure. But from 2022, I started understanding mental health, why it matters, why I behave the way I behave. The reason why I'm telling you about all of this is because understanding, or let's say going about life before understanding what was wrong with me was something. And then going about life after understanding I am not weak. I just have challenges in my brain that other people don't have. Then life started to become another way. Then I started to rest when needed. Then I started to be lenient with myself when I am not 100. And from there, honestly, I was able to achieve more and at the same time rest when needed, because I also had an issue with that.
From political unrest in Sudan to rebuilding her life in Cape Town, Reem Ahmed's story reflects the hidden struggles many students silently carry every day.
If you could speak to your younger self back in Sudan, what would you say to her now?
Ooh, you're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry.
I would tell her that she is an amazing young woman who has been dealing with a challenge in her head that isn't her fault. Honestly, if I could ever say anything to my younger self, it would be, I love you. Keep going.
Stories like these remind us that building a future takes effort, discipline, and integrity. But in academic spaces, pressure can sometimes push students into making choices they don't even fully understand the consequences of. So before your next assignment deadline creeps up on you, let's unpack plagiarism, the different forms it takes, and why understanding it matters more than students may realize.
Plagiarism. One powerful word that can shatter a young person's bright future into tiny ashes. It is the act of presenting someone else's work, ideas, or words as your own, without proper acknowledgement or credit. Plagiarism is considered as a form of fraud or theft, a serious academic and professional offense with severe consequences. We have interviewed CPUT students and the librarian, asking their perspective on what plagiarism means. Ogotla Koza, a second-year student in environmental health, tells us her perception of plagiarism.
It simply means like taking someone's information that is not yours and using it as like it's yours, your own, without giving credit to that person.
Different forms of plagiarism exist in academia, but the most common classifications are direct, mosaic, and self-plagiarism. The most misunderstood form is mosaic, which refers to keeping the same sentence structure as someone else's work, but only changing a few words. Second-year town and regional planning student Oyama Zazini shares her understanding of direct and self-plagiarism.
Direct plagiarism is when you take someone's work word for word, with no citations, no paraphrasing, no quotation marks, no things that shows that it is somebody else's work and using it as your own. And self-plagiarism is using maybe your previous work and then not showing that it's your work that you already done, maybe, or something like that.
There are various reasons why someone may commit plagiarism. For instance, it can be a panic response to poor time management when an assignment deadline is looming. Ms. Kavar, a CPUT librarian, shares her opinion on why students may resort to plagiarizing work.
Sometimes students don't actually understand that the concepts around plagiarism, and so maybe they are doing it because they don't really understand what plagiarism is.
Research has shown that plagiarism can be avoided by adopting ethical writing practices, including proper source citation, the use of quotation marks for direct wording, and careful paraphrasing that acknowledges the original source. Abulele Matkuyana, a second-year financial student, tells us how he struggles to reference his work to avoid plagiarism.
I do find referencing difficult because in some articles, there could be a paragraph, only to find out that paragraph is also a quote from another source. So now you're not sure who is the original author, so it makes your work inaccurate.
What students don't seem to understand is that if plagiarism is believed to have taken place, the reason why is not taken into consideration. Due to its severity, it is dealt with through strict university procedures. One procedure includes being expelled for up to 3 to 5 years. However, there are programs at the library that help students avoid plagiarism. Ms. Kavar, a CPUT librarian, explains how the school helps students to avoid plagiarism.
Okay, so the library offers all first-year students training, and we call it information literacy. Consists of 5 modules, and one of the modules is plagiarism and copyright law awareness.
Understanding the impact and seriousness of plagiarism is crucial for every university student because a moment of dishonesty can turn years of hard work into dust. Students must know that education is not just the collection of other people's echoes, but rather a beautiful process of finding one's voice.
Student life carries pressures we don't always see, and sometimes the kindest thing we can do is make space for people to exist as they are, because university life is about more than academics. For many students, it is also a journey of identity, belonging, and self-acceptance. But what happens when expressing who you are comes with judgment, rejection, and isolation? In our final story, students open up about sexuality, mental health, and the emotional weight of trying to exist authentically in spaces that don't always feel safe or accepting.
Understanding and embracing sexuality is a personal journey shaped by questions of identity, belonging, and acceptance. Students share what it's like to navigate that journey and the challenges that come with being open about who they are. Renee Lwekaka shares her experience.
I wouldn't say my journey, me being lesbian, has been that easy because I've dealt with a lot of hateful speech towards me.
19-year-old Imonge Damana, who identifies as they or them, says living openly and authentically has come with its own challenges.
We're told that we're equal, and we should be ourselves. I have experienced lots of discrimination in school. Yes, really, it's not going to be loud or obvious, but sometimes how teachers look at you, the comments they make, those shady comments they make in class.
Sandy Sobutelezi, who is part of the queer community, along with Imonge Damana, believe that it is lack of understanding in society that continues to shape these negative experiences.
Ngafika high school, well, akuhlezi ngekho easy vele, cause like sikhulele emakhaya, so vele emakhaya it's mentality abanayo most ingane is baphoa minded, so bacabanga kancane, so nje bangalula, ukuthukwa and stuff, being disrespected, called by names.
Imonge shares how difficult it is to walk freely in their community without feeling different.
In terms of attitudes, you'd be walking, in the streets, in the mall, minding your own business. And as much as people, or we as queer people, claim that we do have a space in society, I've realized we still get those looks, those judgy looks over tea. Sometimes people actually misgender you and all of that. And in a way, that does affect me. Because now, from those looks and the way I can tell, when I come outside and I try to be myself, it's very different. Because I can tell that people can see that I'm different.
Kazim Langende, a transgender man, says the criticism they face goes beyond their homes and communities, extending into campus life and student residences. He recalls being rejected by his roommate.
Besides a pretty bad experience I did have recently, which was linked to another student, unfortunately. We had a really bad time with one another. She was actually my last roommate because we were both appointed to the same residency. And she just completely violated who I am. And everything I stand for, like my identity, she completely disrespected and violated everything I stand for.
Elam Vugelwa, who identifies as non-binary, also faced similar challenges. They share how difficult it was living with homophobic roommates during their first year.
Last day was very homophobic. Why was there questions about why I'm being gay? Why, and then this question about my sexuality. And why I didn't fight back.
Over time, these experiences begin to affect more than just the social lives of these students. It also takes a toll on their mental wellness. University spaces and their extensions, such as student residences, should be a welcoming environment, but it hasn't been one for them. Despite the hate, the loneliness, and the challenges, these students have no choice but to chart forward.
There is nothing wrong with the way you are. There is nothing wrong with being queer. You are wonderfully made. And what other people say about you, the way people view you, don't let it get to you. Just be who you are. You are amazing. You are enough.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of CPUT Live. I'm your host, Melissa Khaliza. Thank you for spending your time with us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and stay connected for more stories that reflect student life honestly, creatively, and unapologetically. The script for Campus Focus was written and narrated by Kawimland. The Student Spotlight feature on Reem Ahmed was written and narrated by Sibongile Ngwelo. For Explained, the plagiarism story was written by Okuhle Makaula and narrated by Gamva Katsula. And lastly, for Beyond Campus, the story was written and narrated by Uviwe Njagaza. This episode was produced by Nonhlanhla Mashabana. Our executive producer is Magnificent Mdebele. Our script editor is Tyler Abrams, and our chief scriptwriter is Owendando Zanzi. Sound assembling and engineering by Kumbula Mamana. Our commissioning editors are Kaylee Fanigak, Somele Zendete, and Snawa Jack. And fact-checking for all the stories was done by Gamba Katsula. From all of us here at CPUT Live, thank you for listening. Stay curious, stay loud, and keep your story alive. See you next time.
What's going on, man? It's the coolest kid in Africa, Zulu Mouse and Power Nasty C, and you are tuned in to CPUT Live.
This is CPUT.
Live.